In the case of K-Flock, the jury is split on whether the flock is guilty or innocent. Did you know that? A letter from the prosecutors said that it might be construed as asking the jury to decide whether the defendant, with his quirks, believed the victim was going to utilize physical contact. K-Flock is happy since this suggests the jury would accept his. The jury may be more likely to accept his self-defense claim if they consider his unique beliefs or concerns rather than just what is typical for a reasonable person. As a result, the flock within the jail cell might give you a positive phone call.
Talk to them, flock. Talk to them, my dog. Soon come home, man. You got these little boys walking around with no jewels, flock. They need you. They need you, flock.
K-Flock, a Bronx drill rapper, was accused of using a gun against a friend who had used one against him in 2020. The friend testified against him today. Even further, Lil TJ said, "Free K-Flock." But were you aware that K-Flock looked upset as he heard his gang member betray him? It's Brockington, the snitch. Flocks are not the same as douches as they are known on the street. Douch, closest friend Doug B. The person who was caught for selling took his plea deal and disregarded K-Flock. Yet, Douch's snitching on Flock affects his release date. Therefore, it's important to study the case to understand it. In court, prosecutors questioned Doge about who had called him in the hospital following your assault. KK called, and Douge responded, saying, "You know we got you, bro." After KK's reference to Flock was confirmed by the prosecution, Douge admitted that he would do retribution. Prosecutors asked him if he had hit them in revenge for you, which prompted him to come clean about who hit me. He had, Douge retorted, and the altercation had resulted in a graze on someone. Above all, they inquired as to whether he was carrying a gun, to which Douge said that he was, and that he was speaking with rival teammates who were approaching their block. That is precisely what Florida's closest buddy had to say after Oscar Hernandez passed away.
Okay, but so I saw some fans who were off at both me and academics after K-Flock got locked up because, well, just because I guess, like, you know, in our tone when we talked about it, you know, it might have seemed like we were being a little too presumptuous. But is that weird for you? Because I'm sure you see people all the way from rappers to whoever acting like, you know, your boy is just done and he's cooked in this situation.
I ain't gonna lie, people, especially people that don't even be knowing, like, y'all don't even know what's going on.
Rapper K-Flock faced charges on December 23, 2021 for the murder of Oscar Hernandez. He claimed that since the court documents explain the crime's course, act as a juror and let me know if he is guilty or not. Flock is seen walking along the sidewalk with his sister in the footage. Flock is dressed in a blue coat, expensive jeans, and a bashful mask. Oscar sees him inside the barbershop as Flock passes it and quickly goes outside to find out what he's looking at. Since Flock was with his sister, he didn't want any problems and continued to rant at the other person. However, Oscar's decision to follow Flock only serves to exacerbate affairs. He thought for a second about going back to the barbershop, but he overcame his instincts and turned back toward Flock as he walked away from the camera. Oscar was reaching for something in his jacket, as you can see in the previous part of the video. Flock saw and became concerned for his sister's safety. So he drew his gun, battered Oscar repeatedly, and then quickly walked away. Oscar tried to go back to the barbershop to get help, but he fell and hit the sidewalk. He eventually died in a neighboring New York hospital, but luckily witnesses tried to save him by calling 911. Although Oscar's slides and shot casings were the only remnants of the scene, Bobby expressed his opinions regarding K-Flock.
So, like, for you watching the K-Flock thing happen, that's crazy. Next big artist coming out of New York.
I love Flock, so I like that. That's my guy.
Okay.
But, you know, I'm wishing him the best right now, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, for the alleged charges they putting on him, you know what I'm saying? I'm wishing his family the best. I'm wishing the whole team the best and everything, you know what I'm saying? And I hope he beat them alleged charges, you know what I'm saying? Because he got a lot of future brightness. He got, and I hope, you know what I'm saying?
That would be a sad story if that's the end of it.
No, we ain't gonna think like that.
The case remained a mystery for 24 hours. The people were forced to help the federal government because they were unable to identify the boat man who had perpetrated the crime. K-Flock fans recognized the suspect from this photo they posted online almost immediately, alerting the police. K Flock's clothing was the main factor in their prompt identification of him. He had a warrant issued for him, and the Fed's photo they published showed him wearing the same blue jacket and mask. One of the best lawyers in town was hired by K. Flock, and the two of them met the following day. In a statement released shortly after Flock went into hiding, his lawyer said, "I accompanied Kevin as he self-surrendered to detectives on the 30th. I'd immediately secured precinct arrangements with the NYPD after learning that he was wanted for the charges against him. Our investigation into these allegations has begun, and we will address B once we have had an opportunity to assess the case and examine the Diaz noteworthy disclosure." The lawyer for Flocks believed that he had acted in self-defense after watching the video of the crime.
Guy hits the ground and is found. He's got a loaded that was in his pocket that his hand was on at the time. We consider that to be self-defense.
So he did keep him in self-defense.
That's what the allegation is. I don't want to talk too much about the details of the case,
Okay.
but the government claims that he pulled the. But at the same time, the person that was ground had his hand on a illegal loaded.
Okay. So without saying too much, you're arguing obviously self-defense.
That could be one of the arguments, self-defense, and I would say to the public, somebody's walking up to you with a loaded, it's pretty clear is going to use it, with a criminal record a mile long. Do you want to get, or do you not want it?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't hesitate to pull the.
Since K. Flocks had a history of working with the Third Side Street team, the NYPD statement said the event was believed to be the consequence of a rivalry between the street teams. A well-known individual with significant street influence, he was often singled out when his operations responded. Lawyers were putting his defense together. K. Flock's situation rapidly worsened when it was disclosed that a federal grand jury had accused him of multiple new racketeering conspiracy charges, also known as the RICO accusations. Hip-hop artists said that K. Flock had just been caught in a RICO in response to the news. DJ Academics said that the Fed recently opened. Boozy was charged with the RICO, which carries a required minimum sentence of life in prison if he doesn't defend the charges or snitch, in relation to his discussion about YNW Melly's situation. Furthermore, he is facing state charges that have resulted in his imprisonment.
I knew they wanted him bad when they waited for that law to get passed. So it'd be 8-4.
Oh, right, yeah.
They waited all the way till that law got passed to take him to trial.
Yeah, he was in jail for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, they could have been took you to trial.
You're right.
They waited till that law got passed and took him to trial a couple months later. When they want you, man. Just don't see how he didn't get a bond after.
Due to the fact that the incident was clearly an act of self-defense, Flock's lawyers replied to that RICO accusation by saying that they were not surprised by the federal charges because they had been fighting Kevin's state charges for over a year. The offense was not grave, but it's wonderful that it's now being used as support for a penalty charge because the video clearly shows that Kevin was going to, after attempting to leave the other person, be affected. After the armed team member pulled a revolver from his pocket, Kevin used anything to defend himself and his sister. The court reporter's announcement that the first day of the K. Flock trial was over, however, made us assume that the prosecution was ill-prepared because they were stuttering a lot. While answering the judge's questions and not offering evidence to back up Flock's lawyers' claims, they even said K. Flock looked emotional as his trial day drew to a close. It makes sense because this was his first trial, but his lawyers were so certain that they conveyed this message from prison that they whispered in his ear that he would win the case.
I know what's going on, man. Flock, I know something you, man. Like, we to the guys, man. Hey, yo, like, I'll be back real soon. Shout out to my fans and my supporters, man. I love all y'all, man. For all of you out there, the violence, man. For me, and do what y'all supposed to do, man. For me, get through life correctly, man. Like, get money, man.
The federal government is targeting a lot of artists, though, because Lil Baby was called out by Atlanta police.
Investigation aspect of this, Lamont Freeman was allowed to be a 13-year-old for 27 minutes before gang violence ultimately took his life. Gang violence was orchestrated by adults in our city. And cowardly acts of an Atlanta-based rapper that decided to go over into a rival gang stronghold and shoot a music video in a place that he knew he should not have been. And in the subsequent days, we saw and ultimately the deaths of 2 children as a result of his cowardly actions, and you know who you are. And I tell you that this team will work relentlessly to hold you and the persons that you are affiliated with responsible for those actions.
Are we witnessing the police taking down an official rap? The names of Ven Young and Ace were revealed by the Jacksonville sheriff.
Young and Ace has long been known in Jacksonville. We are consistently monitoring those groups. We have people that are always watching them. I won't speak to the chief's investigation. That's up to TPD. We don't have an investigation on him right now, but he can't move around in Jacksonville without us knowing about it. And that's for the betterment of our community.